Goku decides to confront Zeno about the second tournament of power. The Grand Priest is surprised, and the Omni King begins to imagine what this second tournament, now involving more universes, would be like. However, the Grand Priest finds it strange and asks Goku if he isn't afraid that the 7th universe might be erased in a second tournament of power. Goku replies that despite the risks, he can't contain his excitement at facing warriors from new universes, considering there are now 6 new universes to explore and many warriors as powerful and interesting as Jiren. Zeno says that everything is fine and that they will organize the second tournament, and Daishinkan tells Goku that he will let him know when he has new information. But before leaving, Goku asks Zeno for only one thing: to play a game with him, fulfilling the promise he made on his first visit to the Omni King's palace. Zeno happily asks if the Saiyan is serious, and Goku says yes, that he knows a game that the Zenos will enjoy. The Omni King asks what it is, and he replies that it's a game where the loser has to teach the other a new technique. Zeno is somewhat suspicious and agrees. While training Goku, Daishinkan decides to push the Saiyan's body to its limits. Goku found Whis' training tough because he couldn't imagine what training with the Grand Priest would be like. Daishinkan doesn't go easy on him and for the first time shows a small fraction of his power. Goku needs to resist because only then will Daishinkan's purpose for him be fulfilled. Using all his energy, the Saiyan manages to repel the Grand Priest's attack, which contained only 1% of his angelic power, and it was a close call. Goku is exhausted and almost dies, but he doesn't give up, which makes Daishinkan's eyes shine. The Grand Priest says that the Saiyan from the 7th universe is truly worthy of being alongside the most powerful and feared figures in existence, obviously referring to Zeno as well, who called him his friend. Daishinkan says that none of this will be in vain, that after finishing the training, Goku will never lose to anyone again. Goku asks if it's over, and Daishinkan replies that there's only one more thing left for him to be: invincible. At that moment, the Grand Priest makes his tail grow rapidly. At that moment, he awakens an uncontrollable power in Goku. The entire Zeno Palace begins to tremble, and finally, the legendary white monkey appears. Daishinkan had never seen anything like it. After Goku mastered the perfect Uzuru form, everyone in Zeno's palace was impressed. The Omni King, who was always playful and silly, for the first time showed seriousness and even fear. His guards couldn't even move with such a presence, which shook the entire palace. Daishinkan tells them to remain calm because this is not yet all of Goku's power and orders them to observe. At that moment, the Saiyan undergoes a transformation. The Grand Priest says that the plan was a success and transports Goku back to Earth, stating that now he is ready to face Black Frieza. Beerus asks Whis if something is wrong with him. The Angel of the 7th Universe says no and asks why. The God of Destruction replies that lately he feels Whis has been acting strangely towards him, distant and avoiding him. Whis says it's impressive that the feared Haki Shin of the 7th universe is showing himself to be so sensitive. Beerus tells him to stop mocking and be serious and asks again what's wrong with him. Whis tries to dismiss the matter by saying it's just the God of Destruction's impression, but Beerus, being no fool, insists because something is clearly going on and tells the angel to spill the beans. Under pressure, Whis decides to confess the truth to Beerus. He reveals that while the God of Destruction slept, he secretly went to Zeno's palace at the request of the Grand Priest himself, and the Father of the Angels told him that Zeno wants to make some changes in some universes and that Universe 7 is on the list. Beerus, scared, asks what kind of changes, and Whis replies that it's exactly what he's thinking. The Omni King wants to carry out a divine revolution in the universes, which will change the leaders, new Supreme Kais will emerge, and also gods of destruction. Whis asks Beerus who he has in mind to take his place as the God of Destruction in the future, and the God of Destruction replies that none of the idiots in this universe are competent enough to assume such a position. However, Whis responds by saying that the God of Destruction knows very well that overnight the great Zeno could decide to change the God of Destruction of the 7th universe, and that if this happens, he needs to have a substitute, otherwise the entire universe will be erased. Therefore, he needs to act with maturity, because being a god means making difficult decisions and putting his universe before himself. Beerus says he already knows and can't stand this speech anymore. Whis then begins to show some strong candidates who, if prepared, will be able to take Beerus' place if necessary, so that Universe 7 can remain on the map. He starts with Goku, saying that although he has mastered Hakai, he lacks the mindset of a destroyer. Whis says he's right and then shows Vegeta, who truly has the mind of a destroyer but lacks control over his emotions. Impulsiveness is the one thing a Hakaishin cannot have. Whis then shows Frieza, and Beerus remains silent. Everything seemed normal until Goku received a call from Whis, informing him that he was coming to Earth to fetch him and Vegeta because a very important decision needed to be made. Goku said he was too busy working and that Chi-Chi wouldn't let him go now. Whis said he was sorry, but that the Saiyans should go immediately. Goku, not understanding what was happening, said it was fine and would tell Vegeta. The Saiyan Prince went crazy and said no way, that Bulma had asked him to spend more time with Bra these days. Goku said they had no choice and had to go. Vegeta said he wouldn't go under any circumstances. At that moment, Whis appeared and asked if they were both ready. Goku said it was difficult to convince Vegeta, and the Saiyan Prince said they had to convince Bulma first. Frieza said he would talk to Bulma later, but that they should go right away. Vegeta grumbled and after much reluctance agreed to go, saying he hoped it was really important. They set off for the planet of the God of Destruction, and upon arriving there, Barris, Rodeo says his time is short and he needs someone to replace him, and if those two idiots don't want to, they need to find someone qualified immediately.
Daishin-Kan and Zeno decide to summon Zarama, the creator of the Super Dragon Balls. Of course, this wouldn't be possible without summoning the great Super Shenlong, the most powerful dragon god in the universe. The Grand Priest gathered the Super Dragon Balls and called upon Super Shenlong in the divine language. The colossal golden dragon appeared and asked what the Supreme Priest's wish was. Grand Priest replied that this time he didn't want to make a wish, but a request. He then said he wanted Zarama to appear at Zeno's palace. Super Shenlong said he didn't know exactly where his creator was at the moment, as he had been wandering the 12 universes for millions of years, but that he could find him. Grand Priest ordered him to do so immediately, and Super Shenlong obeyed, locating his creator. When he made contact with Zarama and told him everything that was happening, the entire palace began to tremble, and Super Shenlong was so terrified that he retreated. It was at this moment that Zarama, the most powerful being in the universe, appeared. The universe appears for the first time, already confronting Daishin-Kan for the inconvenience. Daishin-Kan asks future Zeno what happened to him in his timeline after the Omni King erased all of existence. Future Zeno is startled and asks why he's asking this. Daishin-Kan replies that he doesn't know how they met in the future, but that in the present he and Zeno have a pact where neither can ever betray the other, because one's powers are the other's weaknesses. Therefore, neither Zeno can erase Grand Priest and the angels, nor can the angels seal Zeno. Present-day Zeno faces future Zeno, sensing a certain fear in his future self. After all, Zeno knows Zeno better than anyone. He then asks his future self what he did with Daishin-Kan, and knowing he couldn't lie, he reveals that he broke the agreement erasing the Grand Priest. Daishin-Kan is startled and asks why he did it, and future Zeno replies that when Goku summoned him, he didn't know the Saiyan or Earth, so he found it very strange that Goku had the summoning button, even believing that Daishin-Kan had given him the button, and upon seeing that Zamasu destroyed the entire hierarchy of the universe, he impulsively erased everything because his agreement with the Grand Priest no longer made sense in that world. Daishin-Kan tells Zeno that he needs to speak with him alone, away from future Zeno and his guards. Zeno asks why, and the Grand Priest says it's not the time to discuss. Future Zeno is confused and questions why he wasn't included in the conversation. Daishin-Kan replies that everything is fine and that he doesn't need to worry. Present Zeno then sits alone with the Grand Priest and asks what he wants. Daishin-Kan says he'll be direct and reveals that future Zeno needs to disappear because the present is taking a completely different turn than planned. Zeno asks what he means by that, and Daishin-Kan replies that before future Zeno appeared, the Omni King intended to erase most of the existing universes due to the imbalance between them. However, after Goku brought future Zeno, everything changed, and they even agreed to hold a tournament to give these universes a second chance to save themselves. At the moment, everything may seem fine and normal, but this won't last long before the entire present timeline is disrupted. This is a collapse, considering that the other 6 universes erased in the past have also been restored. Sidra calls Frieza seeking revenge against Beerus for their elimination by the 7th universe in the Tournament of Power. Frieza sees an opportunity to take advantage of this and asks the God of Destruction of the 9th universe if he hasn't learned his lesson yet. Sidra replies that he knows what Frieza wants, to reign above Zeno, and that he can help him achieve this. The Emperor of the Universe asks how, and the God of Destruction replies that to do so, he will first have to clear the path by eliminating a good portion of the existing gods of destruction. But unfortunately, he is not yet at the level for that. However, he knows a way to kill the gods without having to confront them directly. Frieza is surprised and asks how. Sidra says that first they need to make a deal, and Frieza asks what kind of deal that is. Sidra replies saying that Frieza can eliminate all the gods of destruction, except him, and in exchange, he will order his angel to take him to Zeno. Frieza says the deal is done, and when Sidra was about to reveal how to kill the gods, Beerus and Whis appear, and Frieza tells him to call back later and hangs up on the God of Destruction. Daishin-Kan warns Zeno that someone is approaching his palace. Zeno says he noticed and that it's not just one person. The Grand Priest confirms this, stating that there are several evil presences, but one in particular is very strong and that they should prepare. Zeno orders him to stand guard at the gate and his guards take their positions. Upon reaching the gate, Daishin-Kan notices that the one approaching is Frieza, a member of Team 7 from the Tournament of Power. He sees the Emperor of Evil with his giant army in a spaceship. One of his soldiers asks where they are going, and Frieza replies that they are heading towards the most dangerous being in the universe. The soldier is surprised and says that there is no one more powerful than the great Frieza. The Emperor of the Universe responds that there is, but none of the vermin on the ship have had the honor of meeting him, and that he is capable of erasing entire universes with a snap of his fingers. He says he can't believe someone like that exists, and asks how Frieza will get to him, and Frieza reveals that when he struck Goku, he stole from his pocket the button that will put him face to face with Zeno and will not give his guards time to react. Frieza discovers that Goku went to train at Zeno's palace through a device he implanted in the Saiyan during their last encounter to monitor him. The Emperor of the 7th Universe overheard a conversation between him and the leaders of the 7th Universe, where he said that training with the Angel Whis was ineffective, and that he needed to increase his level. He also heard the Angel of the 7th Universe say that he would take the Saiyan to Daishinkan to see what they could do. Upon arriving there, Grand Priest gave Goku new clothes, causing the monitoring device to disappear. Therefore, he will no longer know what the Saiyan's next step is. Frieza is furious about this, and one of his subordinates tells him to calm down, saying it shouldn't be that serious. Frieza tells him to shut up, saying that he has no idea of Zeno and Daishinkan level, and that if Goku trains with them, it will be much more difficult to conquer all the universes. The subordinate flatters Frieza, saying that his power surpasses anyone's, and Frieza replies that although he surpassed the Saiyans with his black form, he is still far from Omni King level. The Emperor becomes so frustrated upon hearing this that he begins to cry.